Like and subscribe now, or you're gonna have bad luck this week.
Most people liked exploring their surroundings as a kid. For some, this meant heading into abandoned places such as woods and even research labs. One thing remains constant for those exploring abandoned places: they never know what they'll find. Today, we are looking at the 10 creepiest things found by explorers. Number 1 will definitely freak you out, so watch out for that. Let's begin. Number 10. Shark. Luke McPherson was walking through a dark building in an abandoned wildlife park. This wildlife park was once a popular attraction in Victoria, Australia, known as Wildlife Land. It had live animals and a museum shaped like a 100-meter-long earthworm, along with educational displays and games. Many of the displays, signs, pictures, and games are still there, dilapidated and haunting. He then came across a huge tank of murky green liquid. It wasn't until he stepped behind the tank and turned to face it that he saw what it held. Now, illuminated from behind, the animal inside the opaque fluid revealed itself. McPherson gasped as he could see the angular tail of a 5-meter-long shark. Long dead, a dark silhouette waiting silently against the green glow of sunlight. McPherson was filming for his YouTube channel, which focuses on the exploration of abandoned buildings. Luckily, he caught the discovery on camera. "It was just amazing that the shark tank was still in perfect condition," he said. Number 9. Ghost church sculptures. If you believe in ghosts or not, this church would make sure that you do. This tiny town in Lukovia has made skeptics convinced about the presence of ghosts. There is a church in this town which has been long abandoned, and it is filled with ghostly white figures. Little was known about this town and the church that is located on the hilltop. Back in the year 2013, a stylized video hit the internet and blew the door wide open. This site became popular among ghost hunters and other curious people. These statues were placed by an artist who sought to pay homage to the long and rich history of the 14th century town. The haunting tales that give rise to the commission of the statues are legit. Number 8. Costa Rican Dragon Balls. In the 1930s, workers from the United Fruit Company began clearing the land in a valley in Costa Rica. They came across several perfectly round stone spheres that looked like Dragon Balls, just very huge ones. These giant stone spheres, with some dating as far back as AD 600, can be found in the Tequila Delta of southern Costa Rica, locally known as Las Bolas, or the Ball. Most of the rocks are made from a rock known as gabbro and are made from molten magma. They were made during the pre-Columbian civilization period. According to archaeologists, people of that civilization used small stones to carve these stones into perfect circles. However, some non-experts speculate that these spheres were used for the purposes of astronomy. Others believe that these rocks were used to show directions to important places. Though they are clearly man-made, exactly who made these, how they did it, when it happened, and why still remains unclear. The real reason is only being speculated. According to J.W. Hopes, the Chibachan people inhabited this region. They perished due to the Spanish conquest, so the reason to have these spherical rocks also passed with them. Number 7. The Maryland Collection. In 2006, construction workers were bulldozing a place to make way for a new suburban block. All of a sudden, they came across an old mansion which used to belong to a man named Thomas Theodore Maryland. In the old basement, they came across a number of peculiar wooden boxes. Thinking that they came across something valuable like gold or treasure, the workers started to open the boxes one by one. They weren't prepared for what they would find. Inside the boxes were the mummified remains and skeletons of creatures we now call cryptids, creatures that are thought to be mythological yet to be discovered by science. The boxes contained skeletons of fairies and dragons and a few other creatures that were quite difficult to describe. Since their discovery, the collection has sparked an animated debate between naturalists. While some truly believe that the find will forever change science, others dismiss it as an elaborate hoax. But to me, the bigger mystery is, what were those boxes doing in the basement? And what kind of person is Marilyn to have such a collection? Number 6. Terracotta warriors. Moving on to the next surprising thing found by explorers was the second terracotta army hidden deep in a quarry in western China. There wasn't just the army, but an entire mini terracotta city. It had all the basics, such as figures of soldiers and musicians, models of cottages and towers, and other elements that made the terracotta city look very real. You may think this is about toys, but it most certainly is not. This started when an ancient Chinese prince wanted 300 warriors to protect him in the afterlife, and hence these were made. These terracotta warriors were around 1 meter tall in size and were buried with the warriors. It was said that the terracotta warriors did save the life of whoever it was buried with. Many tried to recreate the warriors, but by then they were washed out. This was said to be the second mini terracotta civilization found by experts. Number 5. A burial ground. There are things I wish I could find out about our land, and then there are also a few things I wish I never found out. One of the never finds is undoubtedly a dead body or bones. Imagine the horror a kid in Utah must have felt when he decided to dig up his backyard to build a pond, but ended up digging up a bone instead. In the beginning, they thought it was an animal bone, but after finds 2 weeks later revealed the truth because he dug up a human skull. The bones were then sent to researchers in a university who were shocked to find out that the bones of the man that had been discovered were almost a millennium old. They are now trying to figure out who the bones belonged to and why he was there. It was unclear whether there were more bodies found, and if there were, we can just hope that it wasn't the boy who discovered them. How do you think you'd react if you found some human bones in your backyard one day? Tell us in the comment section. Number 4. Underwater Statue Park. The ocean is the most incredible exhibition space an artist could ever wish for. These are the words of the famous artist Jason DeCare Tyler. He has made sculptures that are unlike anything you have ever seen. Close to the coast of Molinaire Bay in Grenada, there's an underwater sculpture park. This was actually created by Jason in 2004. It started with only a few statues at first, but with time and more popularity, the park kept on expanding, and the statues kept on multiplying. Another park was created at the coast of Cancun, but divers noted something extraordinary about this park. The statues are fascinating, and they have organisms literally growing on them. It is one hell of an idea for an underwater park. Dubai must be looking to copy this idea too. Number 3. Abandoned Snake Laboratory. Recently in Japan, an abandoned laboratory was found, and making it the worst of all, it was filled with snakes. These snakes were inside jars with some weird liquid, and they were very well preserved. This place was found in an abandoned barn, which would look like some ordinary barn from the outside, but once the explorers searched inside, they discovered this mysterious, creepy laboratory. There were thousands of creepy snakes inside that lab, dead and preserved. It seemed as if someone left in a hurry. But why were these snakes there? And what were those people up to? These questions are still a mystery. Number 2. Chicken Church. A lot of creepy things are related to churches around the world. Hidden deep inside the Indonesian jungle lies a church which looks like a giant chicken. The long-abandoned structure, known locally as the Gereja Ayam, or Chicken Church, which attracts hundreds of curious travelers and photographers. But according to its creator, the majestic building is neither a chicken nor a church. Daniel Alamjah was working in Jakarta, which is 342 miles away, when he suddenly got a divine message from God to build a prayer house in the form of a dove. He probably didn't know what a dove looked like, so he just built something which looked like one. Local landowners offered him a 3,000 square meter of land on Rama Hill for just 2 million rupees, or $110, which he paid off over 4 years. Now, people of many different religions, including Buddhists, Muslims, and Christians, travel to the remote prayer house to worship in their own way. Inside this temple, you can find statues of different gods and prayer rooms, which are quite creepy. Number 1. Bathtub of Human Brains. Somewhere in a little used room in the bowels of the Animal Research Center on the University of Texas's campus in Austin sits around 100 or so large glass jars. This was discovered when a picture of a bathtub full of brains went viral on the internet. It led to the discovery of human brains in a hospital for research. They're stored on a wooden shelving unit that takes up an entire wall. Those jars have an unlikely collection. Each contains a complete, or in few cases, a partial human brain submerged in formaldehyde. Most had a label faded with time, but still readable, inscribed with 3 pieces of information: a reference number, a condition from which the patient suffered, and the date of death. They date back to 1950 and all belong to patients at Austin State Hospital. Picture of brains in bathtub led to this discovery, but people are still finding from where the tub photo is from. Which one of these did you find the creepiest? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.